The Police One Academy is your online training solution from law enforcement experts. With access to hundreds of videos, the Police One Academy delivers cost-effective, valuable solutions for your department. Tap into must-have training from the experts at Police One.
Hi, this is Betsy Brandner Smith with Police One. I want to talk to you today about firearm safety and children. Now, we all carry a gun. We're cops, and firearms are a part of our lives. But, you know, there's been recent cases in the news where police officers have left their firearms laying around at home, and with very tragic outcomes. In fact, not only do children get hurt and sometimes killed, but we've had officers who have been indicted because the laws become stricter and stricter in each state about leaving a firearm unattended, loaded, and ready to go. Now, I know not all of you have kids, haven't even thought about having kids, but for those of you who have kids, you may have a kid in your home at some day, you may have grandkids, the neighbor kids come over. I want you to think about what you can do to keep your firearm safe in your home, and also to keep the kids who come into your home safe from that firearm. Now, here's the thing when we're talking about firearms and kids. A lot of you, especially with little kids, just decide, you know what, I'm not going to bring my gun home. You know what, that's not realistic, and it's not particularly safe for you or your family, because then by leaving yourself unarmed, you leave yourself and your family vulnerable to something that may happen off-duty. And remember, as we teach in the Street Survival Seminar, 16% of police officer murders occur off-duty. So you want to get comfortable with being armed off-duty, and you want to get comfortable with taking that firearm to and from home. So those of you who bring that gun home, I want you to know that you need to think about ways to secure it. And I know many of you have unique ways to secure that firearm. Some of you bring it home, you unload it, you use a gun lock. You may, I know officers who use their handcuffs to secure that weapon. You may have some sort of gun lock box that you put it in. There are a lot of creative ways to secure that firearm. But you always have to think, worst case scenario, what if a child in my home, God forbid my own child, defeats whatever method I've come up with to secure that firearm? I want you to consider these things. Understand, kids are naturally curious, you know, and in fact, kids are going to be real curious about everything on your gun belt, not just your firearm. They're going to want to know about your taser and your OC and your handcuffs. Don't hide it from them. Understand that they're curious, and it's not enough to just say, hey, don't touch my gun, don't touch my stuff, don't touch my gun belt. In fact, when you say don't touch, that's going to make them even more curious. And you know what? They watch TV, they play games on the internet, they see your gun, and they know you carry a gun. Because it's not just about your kids. Even if your kids you think they're completely safe around firearms, they have friends that come over, they know you're a cop, they know there's a gun in this house. And even if you don't have kids, the neighbor kids, kids of your friends know that there's a gun in that house. So it's better to deal with the issue up front and straightforward rather than just hope that nothing bad happens. So for the kids in your life, here's what we want you to do. Show them that gun. Talk to them about it. Teach them the same rules that you were taught about gun safety. What are those rules? All guns are always loaded. Never point that muzzle at anything you're not willing to destroy. Never put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to fire, and be sure you're target and beyond. Now, guys will say, and gals, you want me to teach them cop rules? Yep. And you know what you tell these kids? You tell them, I'm going to teach you the same thing that my range master taught me. Kids love that stuff. Kids like to be treated a little bit about adults, and kids will surprise you. They will catch on, and if you empower them to help keep themselves safe, they are more likely to do it. Now, take the mystery out of that firearm. Sit down with them. Let them see the gun. Let them hold it, obviously, after you make them safe. Break it down and show them. Teach them all the parts of that gun. Show them how it works. Show them the firing pin. Show them everything about that weapon and how it works. And then if you're comfortable with this, we recommend you take them to the range. Obviously you want to protect their ears, but let them see the muzzle flash. Let them hear that sound. I know range instructors who buy a cheap old beef roast and they put it down range and they fire some rounds into it, and then they show it to the child and they say, look, this is what a bullet does to a human body. This is why we respect firearms. That's why you want to teach these kids to respect the awesome power of that firearm. Now, you can go on to the NRA's website. The National Rifle Association has a great program called Eddie Eagle, and it teaches 4 very simple rules to the youngest of kids. Those rules are stop, don't touch, leave the area, and tell an adult. And especially that stop and don't touch. You can teach this to your kids so when they go to someone else's house and they see a firearm, they can be the leader. And you tell them that. I want you to be a leader amongst your friends. If you go to somebody else's house and you find a gun, you tell your friends, well, we're supposed to stop, we don't touch, we go find an adult and we go tell them that, hey, there's a gun here and it's unsecured. Again, empower your kids to help keep themselves safe and help be the leader. Now, we think about little kids, but I don't want you to forget about your teenagers, especially if you have a teenager or maybe your teenage children have friends who might be depressed or, God forbid, might be a criminal. They want to get their hands on that gun. There have been too many police officers' kids or their kids' friends who committed suicide using the firearm of a law enforcement officer. We want to avoid tragedy at all costs. Now, if you're a firearms instructor, you have an added responsibility, and that is to teach others about family gun safety. You know what? Hold a class at your agency for your personnel and their spouses, their partners, and their kids to come in and learn about firearm safety. And you know what? Make it a part of basic recruit education. We teach the recruit officers all about that firearm, but we very rarely talk to them about how to get their family comfortable with that weapon and how to keep that weapon safe. Often we'll just tell them, just leave it at the station. No, because we want our officers to be armed on and off duty, but we want them to keep their families safe while they're doing it. You know what, as we talk about in the Street Survival Seminar, the more that you can bring your family into your world, the closer you're going to be, the safer you're going to be, and it's going to be a better situation for everyone involved. This is Betsy Brander Smith from Police One. Stay safe.
Call today and tap into must-have real-world training from the experts at Caliber Press and Police One.